Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And today I have a pretty little card for you, very fast, very simple, and yet quite striking. And for the very first time I am using some materials out of the upcoming fall and holiday catalog, the August through December catalog. I've gotten a few of my pieces and I'm using some paper and some ribbon from that catalog, and I'll show them to you. Let's just get started. Okay, here is my card, and it's a simple thank you card, but I want to share with you some of the materials that I used. Now, in this holiday catalog, I'm calling it a holiday catalog. That's not what they're calling it all. They're calling it the August to December 2020 mini catalog. And this is actually material from a suite of products called Magic in This Night suite, and it is actually their Halloween offering this time. And there's black glitter paper and iridescent pearls and all kinds of pretty things, but this paper is just gorgeous, and so I'm going to share with you this. So this paper I was very taken with the, I love black and white anyway, but this black and white and kind of gray motif, and then it has bats on the back, but I don't care about that. And so in this paper there's some really pretty patterns. So it's a regular 12 by 12, and there's that with the bats on the back. Then there's this, which is darker colors of orange and purple, and it looks like maybe pretty peacock. And then on the back of that is this mandala looking, but if you look closely, they're little spider webs. Then there's this one, which is that same mandala pattern, and on the back of that are some very fancy bats with heavy scroll work. Then there's this one that has, again, flowers, roses and other kinds of flowers, but there's a little spider web here or there, orangish, deep orange and black, and then this striped pattern, which I think would make a nice masculine card. Then there is this, which is pretty peacock with this pretty pattern on it. It's not really a fleur-de-lis. I don't know what it is, but it's very, very pretty. And on the back side of that is more of this black and white flower paper, a little bit more white, a little less black, and smaller flowers. So I think a lot of this stuff can be used outside of the Halloween venue. Then there's this, which is just a harlequin pattern, and this, which is actually, when you look at it, little spiders. But I fell in love with this floral paper, the large pattern here and the small pattern, and I think that this one is particularly adaptable, as is this and this, to non-Halloween. So I think that, anyway, I was taken by the paper, so I went ahead and I ordered the suite. I don't do a lot with Halloween, but I used to. I had a customer for many years that she sent out as many Halloween cards as she did Christmas cards, and so I made bunches of things for her over the years. And the other thing I'm using is this beautiful ribbon. Look at this stuff. And I'm going to bring a piece of maybe some dark paper so that you can really see what this stuff looks like. It's just gorgeous. It is called Metallic Mesh Ribbon, and I thought maybe it might be like the copper trim that we had where you could pull it apart and stuff, but this is very different. It's flat and it's got this beautiful silver mesh to it, and it's just very, very beautiful. And so I'm using that to make my card. So let me tell you the pieces that you need to make this card. And I made it a thank you card. It sure could be just about anything else. And I suppose you could use blends and color some of the background or the flowers and say a complimentary, and do this in navy or do it in reds or do it in purples. I think that would be a fine thing to do with this paper. But what we have here is, for this card, I have a Whisper White base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. And very simply then, 2 pieces of basic black that are 4 by 5 1/4, 2 pieces of Whisper White that are 3 3/4 by 5, and then I've cut out using my stitched shape framelits, the one that has the ovals, the circles, and the squares, and I did the very largest one and the next one down, and I cut out another piece of this paper, and I purposely went with the lighter section of that paper this time just to see what that would look like. And then I have this white oval, and they're both stitched, and then I cut this little piece to go along here that is 1/2 inch by 5 inches. And then all of the other decorations are rhinestones and ribbon. Now, the thanks is from, gee, guess what? Here's a card. I think I use this one on every other card I use, but it has a nice simple thanks on it, so that's the one I'm using. And then for the inside, this one had a rose, and we have this rose from the Healing Hugs, and I thought that was darn close. So I just used a black image, black ink, and put the rose down here. On this one, I'm going to use this again, but I'm going to move it off so it isn't quite so prominent. But that's the stamp sets I used, and like I said, it's very simple, very quick. And you could use this idea with any pretty paper. In fact, I think the next video I'm going to do is around card layouts. This is a simple card layout that would work with any papers, any sentiment, and really talk about that as an option. Okay, so we're going to do our stamping on these white panels. So I have my Memento black, tuxedo black ink, and I have my thanks, which I'm going to go ahead and stamp on this first panel right up here at the top, a little bit over to allow room for my strip of paper. And there's my thanks. And honestly, that is the only stamping there is to do on this particular, well, the rose on the inside. So I'll go ahead and do that on the inside. And I'm going to take some scratch paper and put my my card down and ink up my rose. This is a distinctive, so it automatically gives you the lights and darks. And I'm going to put that right over here in the corner, off a little bit more than I did on that first one. And isn't that pretty? We've got that beautiful rose pattern there. And it looks like it didn't stamp all the way down, so I'm just going to blend a little bit of gray with my blender pen on that bottom edge. There we go. And nobody's ever the wiser when you do that if you end up with a little ridge from cutting, which is what I've got here. And you just fill that out to the edge, and it looks perfectly done. Okay, so this piece, both of those pieces are ready to go. So what we're going to do is mount this piece on here by adding a little seal. And I've had several comments of people that are struggling with the seal, so I'm going to go over again the best way to apply seal. And I'll do it on this piece so that you can see I got a little smudge on the back here, but that's going to go down. So what I found about the seal is you need to move the tape up to the top edge of, so it'll catch on your paper. Then when you roll it down your page, as you get towards the bottom, if you stand it up and check off, what it does is it brings that tape right around to the edge again, and then it's available for you to grab again, up and check off, and grab again, up and check off. And it takes a little getting used to, but I find that it's getting to be a bit more automatic with me. And if you don't do it, all you have to do is move the tape up just a hair, and then remember, straight up at the end and check off, and you'll be in good shape. All right, so this is my thanks, and I'm going to put that one on one of my black matting pieces. I think this would be an interesting one to color in and see what it came out like. And maybe we'll do that on a future one. Then the other thing I have is just this little strip of paper, which I'm going to set right down here. And again, I'm just going to put some of my seal right along that piece, pick it up and check it off, and it should be ready to go again for the next thing I want to do. And I'm going to put the darker edge up here towards the top, bring that down so the margin is the same, and there we go. All right, now this one I'm going to raise on dimensionals. And on this one, I didn't get my ribbon down on just this piece, so I'm going to run it all the way up and down the whole thing here. So I'm going to cut a piece of ribbon that is long enough to anchor behind, and I'm going to cut two of them because I'm going to need one for the inside as well. So about like that. I've got the overhead fan on, so it's blowing things around for me here, but I'm just going to cut those two lengths. And that is all the stamping we have to do on this project. So I'll set that aside and set my spool aside. And this I'm going to set down here. So I'm just going to add some, oops, there goes my ribbon. I'm just going to add some seal along the back of my card here to anchor down my ribbon. And if I work on my silicone mat, once you've got a sticky back, it won't stick to the silicone mat, so you can work and manipulate things. And basically all I'm going to do is tuck this down and tack it down to that glue on the back, and do the same thing on this side. Tack that down on the glue. There we go. Now, I have these two pieces that I have cut out, and I'm going to go ahead and set those that right up here, up a little bit on the card so I have room for my bow. And this stuff, actually, I just scrunched it down to make a bow, and it ties pretty easily. So I'm going to get my bow made here and tighten it down and make it so that it's not too big, because that's an awful lot of ribbon. And I'm going to cut off this end and cut off this end, and then I went in and kind of fluffed up my ribbon. I folded it a little bit to get it to tie, but then you can open it back up again and get these pieces pulled away from one another so you get a nice full bow. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, this ribbon is just so pretty. So all I'm going to do on here is put a glue dot on the back side of my bow and put that down right down here at the bottom of my oval. I'm going to snip this edge off so that it fits a little bit better on the card. And then I have some rhinestones, and you don't have to do it in this kind of a pattern, but I thought it was kind of fun to do it in a bit of a half moon. So I'm going to pull this out of its packaging for right now. And I set one at the top in the center and one at the bottom in the center. And then I tried to space them so that I came down and then up about equidistant, and then in a little bit from there, and then one more in right about there. And that is the whole of the decoration for the outside. So the outside of this is done, and that's ready to go on my card. Now on this piece, I'm going to put that ribbon down, and I'm going to put it down on the smaller area here before I attach it to the black. This one I didn't catch it fast enough. Okay, so here's my ribbon, and I'm just going to add, I thought it was kind of interesting to add my seal here on this edge by the stamping of the rose, and then to anchor this ribbon down so that it goes across the image. I thought that was very pretty and made it just a little bit different to look at. So now I'm just going to anchor this ribbon down here, pull it across, and anchor it down on this side. And there we go. And then this is ready to get mounted on this layering piece. So I'm going to add some more seal across the top. And again, I'm going sort of at an angle across and then up at the end and checking off. So across, up, and check off. And if you get that motion, you'll have no trouble with the seal, and I'm getting to the point that it's pretty automatic for me. Okay, so we're going to set this on this piece and mat that piece down for the card. Now this ribbon is a little bit loose on here, but I think that's okay. And it looks like I've got a tiny little grayish smudge here. I'm going to use my sand eraser and make that go away. All right, these two pieces are done and ready to go on my card. So I'm just going to add some seal to the back of my card, and you really don't have to go all the way up and down. This stuff is pretty strong, so you can use a little bit less. And these seal tape dispensers hold a little bit more than the old ones by a couple feet, so they'll last quite a bit longer. So there we go. There's the inside of my card. I'm going to add my seal to this piece. Now see, I didn't end it right there. So I'm just going to see if I can't grab it, and I did, and then end it right, so I'll have it ready for next time. Okay, so this piece is going to go right on the front here, and there we have it. Isn't that just the prettiest little card? I love black and white. Now, you could mat it in a different color and, like I said, use blends on the whitish backgrounds here and get a different color going. But I kind of like the idea of the black and white and the simplicity of this one. And you could back this one again in black. But I was pretty happy with this and the ribbon, because I think that ribbon just adds so much glitter to this. I'm just tickled to death with it. Okay, so that is my project today. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. Joining Stampin' Up! Is always a good deal. $125 worth of product for $99, and you start out with a 20% discount. And you have the opportunity to earn money if that's the way you'd like to manage your membership. Let's see, this is July still for another 10 days or so, I think, 9 days. And so my drawing for the month is the Birds and Branches bundle, and all you have to do to get yourself into my drawing is to put an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, or you can get to it through my blog, www.inkingenuity.com. And let's see, that's it for me. I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye.